Hello, welcome back to my page and thank you for coming. Um, Harmony lives in me, and my name is Christine. And all of this month, I am uh, acknowledging and making more women aware of domestic violence and domestic abuse. This is the month that we say stop domestic violence and stop domestic abuse. There are so many women that fall prey to domestic violence and domestic abuse more than any other time. And we are hearing more and more in the news about how women are being killed and abused by men that are in their close parameters of men that are their husbands or their boyfriends or people that they know. So there's a small percentage of these cases where um, the woman do not know the man at all. I am a victim of domestic abuse and domestic violence, and I know that we fall prey, so many women fall prey to domestic abuse and domestic violence only because we feel unworthy. We don't value who we are. And until we get to the point that we accept who we are as just as we are and just love ourselves for the woman that God created in our mother's womb. We are we all of us are not going to be uh, gorgeous. All of us are not going to be what you would say a model figure. But the key is to love yourself just as you are and accept who you are. Um, God has given you everything that you need to be successful and um, uh, to make it in this world. You have to express your unique self and enjoy it and believe in yourself. Um, Once you realize that you are not a mistake and you are exactly who God created you to be, you have to walk in that. You have to enjoy that. And you have to believe in yourself that you are beautiful just as you are. You are beautiful in the state that you are at this time. Just remember to accept your self worth as a normal state of being. And I write in my books, and the one that I really made me aware of who I am and made me begin to love myself is when I wrote my own memoir, and I began to reflect back on the times that I felt unworthy. I had low self-esteem, low confidence in myself, and I was on welfare, food stamps, single mom, two boys, and I look back and I have to say I I stepped out and began to uh, uh, establish who I was at that point. I didn't want to live like that anymore. It wasn't anyone that told me to go back to school or begin to love yourself. I had to find that within myself. So all the answers that you're looking for are inside of who you are in you, and you have to go inside and you have to believe in yourself enough to um, to um, to accept and love yourself. So once I began to go back to school, get my RN degree, and get my own home and refuse to take any abuse anymore from anybody, I realized that I love myself enough not to let anyone abuse me again. And so once you find your self-worth, you will not allow a man to misuse you or mistreat you or just treat you less than the queen that you are. So, in my book, Addiction Through the Eyes of a Nurse, Rising Above Adversity Through Faith, I tell about my challenges, my failures, my successes, and I also talk about being a victim of abuse and a victim of domestic violence. So I tell in my book how I was able to rise above adversity through faith, and it was only through my faith in God that gave me the belief in myself to rise up and to come up out of that deep valley, because that's what it is. When you waddle in self-pity and you waddle in low self-worth and you waddle in um, believing that you are not worthy, you are in a deep pit. So in my book, it's on Amazon.com. You can find it there, and I share my story of how I came up out of that pit. And my next book, I wrote The Fallen Woman, Becoming God's Best. And after I came up out of that pit, I began to commit myself to the Lord and develop a relationship with God. And I began to write this book from a biblical perspective of what God expects of us as women. We are all fallen women, but God expects certain things from women. And it gives us a biblical perspective of what can fill this void in us that we expect a man to fill. No one can fill that void that you're trying to fill but God. Not saying that we should not have a man or a mate, but only God can fill this void that we desperately try to fill with everything but God. So check out my books on Amazon.com, and my third book is a book, The 10 Principles. I am a nurse, and I have been a nurse for quite some time, and I am equipped and qualified to write a book to encourage other women, if they have a desire to want to be a nurse, on the 10 principles to become a successful nurse. Thank you for coming to my page, and be blessed and be aware of domestic abuse or domestic violence. And if you see it around you happening, say something to somebody. Have a blessed day.